Talk Express is KCAA.
Live and in color from the NBC News radio broadcasting studios of KCAA, 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM, located in beautiful Southern California, and in parallel from the Turf's Up radio studio in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thanks for tuning in to the Water Zone show this evening.
All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you all are in this wonderful world. Hope everybody's doing well. And we want to welcome you for tuning into the Water Zone show. We appreciate that very much. I'm Rob Starr. I was going to say along with Miss Tara Mullally, but she hasn't caught up to the studio yet, so we can still move on, and she'll join us hopefully shortly. And we do have the most important person that I think in water news is Miss Chris Austin. Chris, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing okay up here in sunny Reno. Drove up here yesterday, and while I'm doing good, and you're doing good,
Yep.
that snowpack in the mountains it's bad. it's quite bare up there. It's shockingly bare. Looking at the snowpack, it's showing, the sensors are showing that it's flatlined essentially up here. Well, actually, Ed, up here in the northern Sierra, it's tracking underneath, but kind of close to that year, what was it, 2013, or I think it was, or 2014, when Governor Brown went to the snow survey, and there was no snow at the spot where they did the survey. We're tracking very close to that in the northern Sierra. The snowpack's a little bit better as you move south, but there are no reservoirs that really catch drinking water in the south. So really, the big reservoirs are up north, and it's very, very dry. Actually, there's a name for what's going on here. Now, the scientists call this a snow eater heat wave. Nice warm temperatures here, but it's eating away at that snowpack up there. And well, we're looking towards the possibility of having some precipitation on Sunday evening and maybe next week, but it's not looking very extensive, and it's like in terms of area, and it's not looking like it's going to be a lot. And I think sometimes when we get into these dry modes, the weatherman gets very over enthusiastic about small storms because they want to have something other to say than record high temperatures for this time of year. So so I think they're really hoping for things. We'll see if anything transpires, but there is no big storms. No atmospheric rivers hanging out there in the ocean waiting to come ashore. So,
well, I was reading some stuff that Amanda Sheffield from NOAA does, and she has projects for California and things of that sort. And I sent her an email the other day because she was on a show a while back, and I wanted her to come back on and give us an update of what they're forecasting from NOAA's point of view. And haven't heard back. I just sent it yesterday, so I figure I'll probably hear something from her tomorrow. She's usually good at following that up. But yeah, you're right. It's looking bleak, and everybody's getting nervous, and they're kind of hedging on their conversation with what's happening. They'll make comment, but they're a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean it's. I think everybody's a little nervous, but it is still true that it is only February the 5th. February 5th. I've got to look at my date here. Okay, it's only the 5th of February. We've still got 2 months of potential wet weather to go, and things have changed in the past pretty radically, and they could do so again.
Yeah.
So it's not quite the time to go, wringing our hands and, shaking our fists at the sky. We're not quite there yet. But if you're planning, to put in a big fountain in your house this summer, well, you may want to hold off on that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Hey, there's this new word that I heard called a Rex block.
Oh, yes. That just means that
we're
not...
Get me up to speed on that, would you please?
A Rex block. Well, let me go pull this up here and see what it says here. Rex block. Let's see.
I was reading that this morning, and I thought that was pretty interesting about that, and how the weather patterns are flipping around, and kind of what you were just saying.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so we have a low-pressure system undercutting the high-pressure system to the north, and so it sends the wind swirling in many directions, and they call this a Rex block. So the air is moving clockwise around the areas of high pressure and counterclockwise around areas of low pressure. And, wow, that sounds pretty crazy, doesn't it? And
yes.
these blocks can remain in place for days at a time. So it sounds to me, reminds me, what they used to say in Southern California when we get unexpected rain, and they say, oh, that's a cutoff low. Remember that? Cutoff low.
Yes.
That was the excuse for, wow, rain all of a sudden cropped up you didn't tell us about. Oh,
yep.
Cutoff low.
Yep. Amazing. We had on, I just one blank on his name. He was on our show a couple times. He was the weather guy for NBC News in California, Southern California, and he was an actor and a comedian as well that he did shows and stuff like that. Yeah, Fritz Coleman. Yeah, what an awesome man he is. He came out to a lot of things that we were doing with municipal water of Orange County, and we had a booth there and for the show, and he came over and took pictures with us, and just a sweet guy. I always thought he had a meteorologist background, but no, he didn't. He was called a weather. Well, they call it a weather person or informer, but he wasn't a meteorologist. But he really knew his stuff about weather and water. He used to speak and make presentations at a lot of different water symposiums in California and stuff, and he really knew his stuff. I mean, he knew the numbers. He was as good as any politician, better than any politician talking about water. He was an amazing guy. But yeah, all these new things that not new things. They come up with these catchwords for it, like when they came up with La Niños. They always have to come up with some fancy name to tell everybody what's going on. Just give us the dirt. You don't have to go into fancy names and all of that. But I guess it's more.
Well,
I guess it's for catching. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to give names to these weather phenomena. Otherwise, what do you say? Well, those swirly things in the air up there, they have to have names. So,
well,
my dad was a weatherman on TV up here in Reno for years, and he was an actual meteorologist, and forecasting weather up in Reno is especially challenging because you have these mountains in between you and California, and they kind of change up how things happen. I was always surprised that in Los Angeles, everything's this big wide ocean around you. There's no mountains around to screw things up, so why they couldn't get it right, I never understood. But my dad would always say, he's in advertising, not management.
Well, we have a special guest who just joined us. He's my co-host.
Yeah, I had some major computer issues earlier. I couldn't even get it to turn on. I'm so glad it did, though.
No problem whatsoever. I was going to bring up a subject because we're talking about crazy names for things. This muscle mania that's happening, and I thought, when you read that. My daughter was in here. She saw that I had a note about the muscle mania. She says, "Is that wrestling program that's on every Wednesday night?" I go, "No. It's about muscles, the muscles that are in little shells, and they cause a lot of problems. So what are we doing about the invasion of the mollusk?
Oh gosh, they're trying to figure that out. I'll tell you. I mean, these are nasty, and they're coming up all over the place, and they cling to everything, and they're now all throughout the water system. So they're trying to figure out what it takes to get rid of these things. You know, like they have the DWR is looking at using potassium chloride, seeing if that kills them.
Yep.
UV disinfection. Kern County is purchasing an underwater camera to help add, when they do inspections. And Metropolitan's already has increased its budget by $500,000 to address the mussels throughout their system. They're just all over the place, and I don't think they have yet found an effective way to get rid of them. It's really, really hard. These mussels, they're small, and kind of like the quaggas and the zebras, they love to stick to hard surfaces, and they clog up everything. The boat propellers, water intake infrastructure, docks. I mean, they're just all over the place. And, the other thing that they do is, they litter their shells when they do die. They get littered on the beach, and they're sharp. And so you can't really walk on them in bare feet. If you can imagine that. You go to the beach and you can't be in bare feet. So, yeah, they're nasty.
Well, and I hear they breed faster than the quagga mussels, right? They're not only are they nastier, they're smaller and they breed faster. So even though we've been dealing with quagga for years, and we kind of have a lot of monitoring with that, and we've got some remediation ideas, or we've learned to manage really with them. This is a whole new sort of world that we're stepping into, and lots of things will work, but I'm guessing that some things probably won't.
Yeah.
So why don't they figure out what they can do? We got a guy coming on after this who's mining for magnesium and lithium and all that stuff, digging it from the brine and the seawater. Why can't somebody figure out what we can do with these things? Because you kill them, you still got to remove them somewhere. So maybe they can use them for food for something else or some other. I don't know. I mean,
they're very tiny.
Well, yeah, but you watch these TV programs. They have a guy named Zimmer. Can't remember his first name. Zimmer, and he used to eat crazy food and stuff. And now he does a wild game cooking. So why can't they do something with these? I mean, they use the shells. I mean, who knows?
We'll have to see about that.
Does not sound promising from Miss Austin. I'm just saying.
And she's probably right.
Invasive species, especially aquatic species, they're just really tough. As a matter of fact, if you listen to the agencies that are responsible in controlling them, when we're talking about invasive species in the waterways, they just say, it's really not a matter of if, it's really a matter of when. And so you just kind of want to, prevent it as much as you can. But if you think about water in our world, everything in the world is connected by the oceans. I mean, we give the oceans, different names, but the bodies of water still connect to each other. Everything goes everywhere. And actually, one of the biggest vectors for spreading invasive species is actually recreational boaters and people with the watercraft, the jet skiers and stuff. And so this is, I think, probably the most important thing that we can do as the water industry is to encourage folks to understand the risk and make sure they dry out their boats and, get them decontaminated and before they go hopping from body of water to body of water. They found someone in Tahoe last summer. They had generally if the boat has been decontaminated, then there's some type of seal on it. And they broke the seal and tried to fudge another seal that it had been inspected, but they hadn't. And with the Department of Fish and Wildlife people caught on to this breaking of the seal, that what they were trying to do, inspected the boat, and it had all kinds of invasive species on it, like, trying to launch in Lake Tahoe. So that guy was fined $5,000. But, I mean, here he was trying to circumvent the protection feature so he could go have a day in Lake Tahoe and could have potentially spread a more invasive species, maybe even the golden mussel in Lake Tahoe. So far, I don't believe they have it in Lake Tahoe, but again, it's a matter of time in a sense, especially when you have people, recreational boaters that are not doing the right thing. So I think the thing I'd want to just encourage everybody is to understand this is a huge problem, and everyone needs to do their part.
Do you remember on a past broadcast, you and I were talking about nubias?
Nutria,
yeah. So
yeah.
I said it wrong. And
those roads, yeah.
And then I reported there was an article about people can cook them and eat them.
Oh yeah. They make them into dog treats too.
Okay, yeah. So why can't they do something with these mussels?
We're back we're not eating them. It's not going to happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen.
I was registering a new company already.
These are not like oysters on the half shell. This is like, these things are small, like maybe your pinky fingernail size, maybe smaller, and the little mussel part is very, very small, so it'd be kind of like caviar, kind of like sunflower seeds in a sense. It'd be a lot of work to get down to.
But people, I've been to the county fair where they have exhibits of people cooking with mealworms. So what's the difference?
Well, yeah, but those rural people,
I'm just trying to Chris, don't bite the bait he's putting out with that mealworm.
Oh no. Yeah.
So
go
can we
2 doors.
Reservoir for a second? Can we I'm gonna muscle into this conversation and try and see if I can. So sites received environmental approval.
For NEPA.
Yeah.
Federal. Yeah. Record of this. Yeah, well, we knew that was coming. The feds are all in on site. Reclamation wants to up its share in the reservoir. I think they're currently at 16, and they kind of want to get up farther. So the everything is fully subscribed. So, but now that they start working towards the end deal, though, the people that may be a little bit on the fence, some might drop out, and then there's others just waiting to jump in. So, SICE is ready to go in terms of financing and people that are ready for it. But yeah, that was the record of decision from the Fed. So now they have both their environmental documents done, and I think we're pretty much waiting now for the water rights decision, which is expected to come out of the water board, I think early summer is what they're hoping for, if I remember correctly, the last update I got. So, we're SICE is looking pretty good. It still has its share of critics, and we'll see. I mean, the water right pretty key, because the water right is going to be how much water SICE could potentially be able to draw, on any given year, and that it may be more or maybe less than what they have been hoping for. So we'll see how that goes, but that is a key decision, and I think after that they have pretty much. I'm not sure they have much more permitting to go. There are probably some things that I can't remember, but I think the major ones will be out of the way. So we will see.
That'll be awesome. I see Alex Padilla is rolling out some new water bills.
Oh, everybody's excited about that. We'll see what happens.
It's a long one. It's called the Making Our Communities Resilient Through Enhancing Water for Agriculture, Technology, the Environment, and Residents Act. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of words.
Welcome to water.
Well, that's because it makes some nifty little acronym. I'm trying to look down to see what it is here. Yeah. I never get too excited about anything that's just introduced before it actually, starts moving forward. But,
well, they start the PR stuff just like the Train to Nowhere that they started 20 years ago. Right?
Well,
you have to have PR to get people interested in it.
Well, yeah, and I think, too, that there's a great interest in looking like you're doing something. And you are when you're introducing bills and trying to get things passed. That's what legislators do. So you are doing something. And so communicating about that, I suppose, is just fine. But really, and now are we not avoiding the big elephant in the room? And that big elephant has the name Colorado River all over it.
Yep.
Because, boy, this week it's been all about the Colorado River as things are just heating up. And the Secretary Bergram called everybody, all the governors to Washington, D.C. To talk about this, but nothing really came out of it. The Arizona governor seems to feel that Secretary Bergram isn't really doing anything, and she really wants him to get in there and do something. It kind of sounded like 6 of the 7 states had sort of like getting towards an agreement, but Arizona is saying hell no on that, and they've actually set aside money for litigation, and all of this is happening as the reservoirs, Lake Mead and Lake Powell, continue declining and getting to, record low conditions. And the snowpack, we think it's bad here in the Sierra. It's bad in the Colorado River, the Colorado Basin, too. It's bad all across the West, which is very unusual. I have to point out, because Metropolitan used to feel that Southern California's water was in good shape because if it was a bad year on the Colorado, well, you had the Delta and vice versa, but this year it's bad all around. So they haven't yet made a decision on how much to cut and or how they're going to deal with this cut, but this I think they're trying to do 2 million acre feet cut, and earlier this year, some researchers that follow this were saying, "Oh no, you're much too light. You need to be talking double." And so I don't know how this is all going to work, because they're going to come up against reservoirs circling the drain.
Yeah.
You can't get water that's not there. So I think it's moving to dire situation there on the river. It would help. I gotta believe that it would help if Reclamation had an actual commissioner who has yet to be appointed. But I think that the fact of the matter is that it's going to take the Secretary of the Interior saying this is what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because elected people can't. It's hard for elected people to agree to something. It's better if someone takes it away from them, in a sense,
Yeah.
So
it's an easier buy-in to. I should call one of my friends, Brenda Berman from the Central Arizona Project. She runs that. She's been on the show several times, and she obviously is in bed, not in bed, but involved with this so much. see what her take is. Because I think it would be hard to get Katie Hobbs on, Governor Hobbs on, even though I'm here in Arizona. But I think that would be
we're a popular show. Why not?
Yeah.
What did you say? We're number 4?
We were number 1 last year globally. Globally in the world, we were number 1 on water.
Hey,
and I appreciate we're still in the top 5 that I heard from FeedSpot, and they're supposed to announce the winners at the end of this month. So hopefully we can get 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. That'll be fine. I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hobbs.
Yeah. Well, I don't know her personally, but we'll have our staff put a letter out to her. Anyway, it's our NBC commercial time, and we got to do that. But for all our listeners, please go to mavensnotebook.com. That's where you're going to find Miss Chris right there. And she publishes Maven's Notebook every single day. Keep saying every show. She must put in 100 hours a week to do this. She's typing all day and all night. She's a typing fool. And but she does really good. It's a great way to get your information on water, what's happening around. And also you can become aside from becoming a subscriber, and it's free. If you care to make a small donation to that would be great too. And she appreciates that. So Chris, I know you're up in Reno today. You have a good time up there and a safe trip home whenever you're coming back. And we will talk to you next week.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. All right, we're going to take a little commercial break and be back with our featured guest. Really interesting person and the business that he has, and we want to share that with everybody and get some questions so we get smarter. So stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.
Water is one of the biggest expenses for communities, HOAs, universities, golf courses, and resorts. So keeping those costs under control, especially when rates are increasing while water supplies are being reduced, are often essential to a customer's survival. Managing water requires multiple skills, which is why it's been complicated and difficult until now. AquaTrack brings multiple skills and technologies together to help large system users conserve outdoor water and improve the health of their landscapes. AquaTrack's professionals are certified landscape water managers and certified landscape irrigation auditors. The company offers audit services, upgrade advice, technical expertise, and water use monitoring. We already manage irrigation water for the largest homeowner associations in Arizona, and we're prepared to bring our knowledge and experience to help others, including landscapers and designers. Give us a call and hear how AquaTrack saved one HOA some 430 million gallons of water and $200,000 in annual water expenses. AquaTrack is Arizona-based, and you can reach us at 623-594-8689. That's 623-594-8689.
Moving up in this industry means getting the most out of each day, so you can focus on growing your business. With Site One, you're in control, and we're here to help. It starts with the right team. Our irrigation pros can help map out a complete, streamlined system that meet any requirements or regulation. And from the first dig to years after install, knowledgeable experts are available in branch, or resources are available online to help find solutions specific to your needs. Next, we make sure you have the right tools to get the job done with the largest selection of top brands in the industry, bringing the latest in Wi-Fi enabled controllers, rotors, sprays, valves, and drip components. And because hard work should always be rewarded, you'll receive personalized pricing and earn loyalty points on qualifying purchases to help you grow. You're in control. Site One is here to help.
All right, welcome back to the second half of the Water Zone. Rob Starline with Miss Tara Maloney. God, I can't talk. Took a swig of water and I lost my voice. Sorry about that. Anyway, we have a very special guest on the show and a very interesting business that he has and partnership with, hopefully he'll tell us all his partners that are involved in this. I like having people like him on the show because I get smarter learning about the stuff that people do. And his name is Alex Grant, and he is the CEO of a company called, God, I can't even talk, Magrathea Metals, and they're in up near San Francisco, is where it's based. So, Alex, welcome to the show, and excuse my voice.
Oh, good. No, thanks for having me.
We appreciate that. I am so amazed at reading articles and things about what you're doing, and as you know, Peter Glick gave me Fritz gave me your information, and I've been very excited about reading it, and I thought it would be a great topic to discuss. As I told you before, on separate phone calls that we had, we were doing an 8-part session with ConocoPhillips and the New Mexico Produced Water Consortium and stuff, and they're doing some interesting things. But yours is really a little different. And question, maybe for our listeners, give a little background about yourself, and then how did you get into this business or this metals industry? What drove you to that?
Yeah. So I am a chemical engineer by training, originally from Canada. My first job ever actually was at a wastewater treatment technology startup in Montreal when I was in undergrad in 2011 or 2012. And that's where I first started learning about water, hydrometallurgy, and chemical process technology as it applied to aqueous resources. I went for a PhD in chemical engineering at Northwestern in Chicago in 2015, studying CO2 transformation. I thought it would be interesting to make methanol as an energy storage vector for aerospace and different applications where batteries wouldn't work as well. And in that PhD, I connected with another grad student who had an idea for how we could use ceramic materials to extract lithium from brines. So this was in early 2016 timeframe. Almost as soon as I started my PhD was kind of over. So I ended up basically starting to work on lithium extraction tech and left my PhD with a master's in 2017 to come out here to San Francisco and help start a lithium extraction tech company called Lilac. So I was the first engineer in the company, helped start it, and built the first kind of mini pilot reactors to prove we could make lithium chemicals from different types of brine resources all around the world. Not just desalination brines, but there's really no lithium and desalination brines, so we weren't focused on desal brines in the lithium context, but we were looking at all different types of waste brines, from potash and salt processing, and different brines, often subterranean and really deep, like oil and gas produced water, for example, too. So that's how I got into mining and metals and extractive metallurgy about 10 years ago. After I helped start that company, I ran my own boutique consulting company for a couple of years called Jade Cove, helping clients all around the world figure out how to make lithium chemicals more clean, lower CO2 emissions, and lower environmental impact in general, and get off China at the same time. And a couple of times I went out to Utah to help take lithium out of magnesium chloride brines. So I accidentally started learning about the resource base for making magnesium metal, which is what we do at Magrathea. So about 4 years ago, a friend at Tesla had the idea to work on magnesium because it is the lightest metal, so it has a really important role to play in lightweighting transportation, both on the ground and in the air. And maybe even more importantly, it's used in every single aluminum alloy. So you cannot make anything out of aluminum without magnesium supply. And the U.S. has zero magnesium metal production capability today. All of NATO actually has almost zero primary magnesium metal production. So with China and Russia controlling, it's terrifying. China and Russia control 95% of the world's production. It's really bad. There's 400 pounds of magnesium in an F-35. You have no aluminum industry, no automotive industry, no aerospace industry, no packaging industry, no electronics industry without magnesium metal supply. So we're trying to solve that problem. And that's kind of what originated Magrathea about 4 years ago.
Well, interesting. I have to admit that give credit to my wife. She has a master's in chemical engineering, and she knows more about it than I do. I'm electronics and physics, but it was really interesting to me. But what are the top challenges currently facing the metals industry, and which do you consider the top rare earth minerals? And is that how you decided to go the route that you went?
Yeah, I decided to work on magnesium principally because I was in lithium, which was very busy. There was like a ton of hype and tons of people trying to get into it, and I kind of had my successes there and wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to go into a totally different industry and take over a different industry that no one else is working on. So that's how I really got interested in mag, and yeah, I think it was a good decision in retrospect because now it's just this totally bipartisan, interest in rebuilding critical mineral supply chain capabilities in the U.S. That we get to take advantage of.
Well, Tara, jump on in.
Well, I'm listening to how fascinating it is. I'm a little scared about how our magnesium production, just like we don't have one, which is scary. So when we talk about next gen technologies and trying to create this market here in the good old US of A, what are you using in terms of medical metal production? Apparently your speech gapping is catching.
It's only water. I'm telling you, it's only water.
Yeah. So what we did was we spent about a year doing a really detailed technology review of every electrolytic magnesium metal smelter ever built. So these things have been built in the U.S. multiple times, Canada, Norway, Germany, Russia, China, Israel, a couple other places. And we identified, what went well with different technology solutions, what didn't go very well, led to plant closures and, cost issues. And figured out really the main problem was the CapEx intensity, like the cost of building the plants was just way too high. So we identified solutions that would be able to make magnesium metal from seawater and brines economically and also without significant environmental impacts. Basically looking through, kind of consulting first principles and figuring out what really made sense and finding white space in the technology landscape. So did that about 3 to 4 years ago. We developed a new generation of technology, a new process that solves a lot of legacy issues, reduces CapEx by upwards of a half, which is pretty wild. And we built a pilot in Oakland that made metal that was actually very pure, and has kind of achieved all of the goals that it had to achieve for showing we can make metal economically. And now we're basically getting ready to scale up. So we're now designing a demonstration plant that'll be built in Arkansas with a joint venture partner there. And that's partially funded by the Pentagon. So we've been working with them for almost 3 years. And we're pretty excited about that scale up. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about the chloride electrolyzer process.
Sure. So super high level. So we take a magnesium chloride. We take a brine, which could include seawater or desal brine. Remove the magnesium as a hydroxide using lime. Reacidify that to make a magnesium chloride salt. And once we have a magnesium chloride salt, that's the intermediate that we smelt into metal. So magnesium chloride is very hard to dry, which you really need to do for the molten salts chloride process. So this is 700 degrees Celsius liquid salts mixed together, and basically a bath of that with electrodes that go in that put in electricity, and it splits the salt to make metal. And it's actually drying the salts before the electrolysis that's the really hard part. So that's what historically caused the most issues in this process and drove cost. And that's where we've developed the most kind of innovative solution for improving the process. So once the salt's dry, as I mentioned, it gets melted in a molten salt, split, and then the metal floats on top of the salt, and we suck it out with a vacuum. And once you've got that pure magnesium extracted from the electrolyzer, it gets sent to a cast house to pour ingots. And that's the final product that goes out to aluminum companies. And if you want to alloy it, it can be sent to die casters to make auto parts, things like that.
So the magnesium strengthens, from what I understand, it strengthens the other metals, the aluminum and such.
It stiffens. Yeah, so magnesium stiffens aluminum. So you can't make anything out of aluminum without magnesium because it's too ductile. So if you think of aluminum foil that's used in the kitchen, that's actually aluminum that has had the magnesium removed. So it has no magnesium in it, and that's what makes it so squishy. But you don't want that in an airplane, and you don't want that in a car. You want it to be stiff.
Need some strength behind it.
So that's the main application of magnesium. There's a couple other really important ones, though. Like we use magnesium to make titanium, the reagent used in the reduction process for making titanium metal. So you don't have titanium production without magnesium either, so you don't have aerospace. We use it in steel production, so primary steels. Some of them require magnesium for desulfurization. You cannot make primary steel without magnesium. Hafnium and zirconium for nuclear are also made with magnesium. Beryllium and boron for electronics and defense are both also made from magnesium, using magnesium. So it's pretty wild how many different metals magnesium touches. Someone actually once described it to me as the gateway metal because it has a role to play in the production process of so many others and in so many industries. So yeah, you can see why it's kind of disconcerting that we have zero primary production in the U.S. or any allied country, at least in NATO, and China and Russia basically control the whole production base globally.
Right. So you basically just described the user markets for magnesium. You have a lot of partners you joined. I think you were talking about this project in Arkansas. That was with Tetra, I believe. And then you also have a partnership with I'll call it now the Department of War, because I guess the U.S. sees that's an important factor. Magnesium is something that we need here. It goes to AI, spreads across lots of different territories. Where do you think the biggest market is?
In a kind of linear sense, like it's the aluminum industry. We're going to sell mag to aluminum. And that impacts everything. That impacts auto, that impacts construction, that impacts aerospace, everything. It literally underpins our high quality of life.
So can you share any recent projects or partnerships that highlight how you guys have come from, like, I know it kind of came from something small and now it's not so small?
Yeah, for sure. So we've raised about $12 million of private capital from some of the best clean tech VCs out there, venture capitalists. 3 years ago, we were awarded a $19.6 million grant from the Defense Production Act Title III program in the Pentagon, Department of War, or DOW, as I like to call it. So we've been working with them for a couple of years. We have just 2 months ago announced a joint venture with Tetra, as you mentioned. They're a $2 billion public oil and gas industrial minerals company, very sophisticated operators, largest calcium chloride producer in North America. And Tetra is building a bromine plant in southwest Arkansas using Smackover brine. So this is a salty water that gets pumped up from 7,000, 10,000 feet deep. Bromine gets extracted. Lithium will likely be extracted. And there's magnesium in it too, so we'll extract magnesium. And there's very elegant integrations with our bromine plant for magnesium smelter. So we identified this opportunity to build a mag smelter at the same site as our bromine plant, and it just clicks perfectly. So all of the lands that we need for our commercial smelters there, all the reagents we need are already controlled by Tetra. All the electricity we need, which is really important for an electrolyte process, is already there. The natural gas we need is already there. The permits are already there. The list goes on. We're going to share labor between these plants, so it reduces costs for the smelter. Tetra is contributing capital. It's a total dream. So we're really excited to be building in Arkansas.
My wife was telling me when I was asking her questions about chemical engineering and such. She was talking that says that she believes that your technology would provide a significant lower processing cost also, which will give you an advantage in the marketplace.
That's the goal. Yeah, exactly. Long term, we want to be able to compete head to head with China.
So between China and Russia, how do you and everybody trying to grab, at least the United States, whether we're going in Greenland or in overseas in not NATO, but the country that's fighting Russia right now, Ukraine. Are those going to be future places, and maybe the Permian Basin here in the States? Do you see it expanding more than just your compact? I mean, I'm looking at you taking what you have with your partners and globally doing this. Or do you want to keep all of that just for you?
No, sure, yeah. We're talking to folks in Europe. We're talking to folks in Japan. We're talking to folks in the Gulf region, North Africa, even South America. Actually, I think I just said every continent. So yeah, we're talking to people on every continent about either building mag smelters or buying magnesium. It's really a global project.
Do you think the price of the final product would be high, or does it become valuable with the application of making it drive the price up to consumers or industry?
No, we're trying to. Yeah, we've actually every single time a customer asks us, what price are we going to charge? I say, look, there's a market index. We're gonna track that. That's it. Keep it simple. So we're not asking for a premium.
No, that's good. How do you prioritize sustainability in the operations across? Because you have partners in this. They all follow one rule that you're all going to put together, or they each do their own thing and combine it with you guys.
We've done a prospective life cycle assessment showing we can make potentially carbon neutral primary metal, which is pretty wild. In Arkansas, we're going to be integrated very closely with our bromine plant that is mostly permitted now and has a strong social license to operate. So we're going to be kind of following the norms of what makes sense there. But Mag Garcia was very much started as a sustainability project. I've dialed down the storytelling on sustainability a lot in the last couple of years for obvious reasons.
Right.
But it's still very much like my personal meta mission in life is to help the technosphere coexist with nature more harmoniously. Is what really has always kind of motivated me. So.
No, that's a good thing. One question I asked on the last show that I did with this consortium from New Mexico, what about the mineral rights on these properties? What is there going to be difficulties achieving or obtaining those from the different states or the locations, or do they want to share in that a share of the business as well?
Yeah, it's different. It's different in every place, every state, every country, every county, even. So Tetra, for our project in Arkansas, Tetra has a very mature process for dealing with that for their existing project and existing operations. So we'll just be slotting into the way they've operated there for decades, and taking advantage of that infrastructure. So they've got their heads around it. They're very, very competent operators.
So on this Arkansas plant that you're involved with, where's the next location you think you're going to be doing it?
That's a good question. I wonder if our the next big plant in basically after Arkansas in the early 2030s would be maybe in the Gulf region, maybe in the U.S. It really comes down to following capital at the end of the day.
Right.
I used to say that magnesium was a technology and price of energy problem, not a resource problem, which is true. But I now realize it is very much also a capital problem. It's just so much money to build stuff like this. So really, we have to identify partners who will capitalize it because, we don't have a balance sheet to build smelters. So right. we need strong partners.
Right. I think.
So speaking of strong partners.
No, go ahead, Tara. Sorry.
I was just going to say, speaking of strong partners, how do you partner with local communities and economies to sort of support what they're trying to do? I know this is something that I feel like sustainability not only means environmentally, but also within our own communities. How do you sort of see that part of what MACDIA plays?
For sure, yeah. I mean, a lot of the conversation in Southwest Arkansas around social license to operate is very like, what's the right way to put it? Like, it's really jobs focused. Like, Arkansas is, I believe, the poorest state in the United States, and there is some industry there, but they're constantly trying to bring in new investments, create new jobs, and build new things. Like, to give you a sense of this, like, I met Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor, in November, and she gave me her phone number. Like, I can text the governor whenever I want. Like, this is like white glove service, red carpet rolled out. You know, totally different from California, right? You're never going to get that in California. They really want the jobs, and that's going to be a big part of the contribution we make to the district that we're operating in. That's one of the biggest things people care about. So
all I'm hearing is, Gavin, where's your number? That's what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, I mean, Daddy Gavin can call me up anytime and try to get us to build in California. But California's just notoriously too challenging to operate industrial facilities in. I mean, it's a shame. We've been using, it's public, like we announced a brine supply agreement with Cargill buying magnesium chloride brine from their Newark facility in San Francisco Bay, where they make a magnesium chloride brine from seawater. It's a waste product for making salt. And like, there's a lot of brine there. I mean, you could imagine building a smelter there. And the first metal we ever made was from a desal brine in Santa Barbara. So, and we're currently HQ'd in California, of course. But
yep.
I almost built about a year and a half ago. We were studying a project plan to scale up to our demonstration plant in Oakland. I was probably 3 weeks away from signing a $10 million lease on a warehouse in West Oakland, and there are other things going on that led to various decisions, but like, I just had this terrible gut feeling that this was a horrible way to spend $10 million, and we were going to have a lot of problems. Like, it was just going to be too hard. Like, permitting was going to be a pain in the ass. People were going to be a pain in the ass. Like, Arkansas, though, again, governor on a text basis, right? Yeah. Like, just, if you're trying to build something, it's like, all I want in this universe is to build a magnesium smelter, right? Like, I've got to work with people who are just focused on building stuff, focused on building jobs, focused on stewarding capital to these places where it's needed. And yeah, because we're not going to build a smelter if we don't. It's just too hard. So
I like your tenacity. You were joking about permits and stuff. If you remember the desal plant in Oceanside, California, you're in California, it took 17 years from the time they started it till they got all the approvals and built it. 17 years.
Wow.
And yeah, California is tough to deal with all the regulations. You'd probably have more fights of what you want to propose at people who are opposed to that, and they'll come up with every single reason and every single lawsuit to stop you. And yeah. I love when I read who you partnered with and what you're doing and everything else. It was exciting to me, and I was showing it to my wife because, like I said, I don't have your technology. That wasn't my study in school. And she was telling me all this stuff. She says, that sounds like a really great business. It's going to make you really, really well. And it's amazing. Like I said, I enjoy talking to you and learning about what you do and how it affects water and all this other things. It's interesting to our listeners and interesting to the world to know that, hey, there's people that have technology and want to push it forward and make it happen. And states like Arkansas with Huckabee Sanders, she knows how to run a government, and she wants to see business grow not only there but also in the United States. But like you said, there's places you can go that you can do great business. It makes it easy to do. Or, unfortunately, like the people in L.A. who experienced the fire, a year later, how many permits have been given? How many homes have been rebuilt? It's so slow. And just like the train to nowhere, that's been going on for 20 years. and all the money they spent on PR and everything else. And what do you have? You have a train that goes to the ladies' prison if you have somebody that you know you want to go visit, and the tracks aren't yet there for the high speed. So, yeah, I understand where you're coming from. My wife says you're very clever in what you do, and the partners you got are outstanding in the industry. So, congrats to you and your business. So we appreciate you coming on the show. Anytime you want to come back and talk about some stuff and share what you're doing or the successes as you're going forward with these plants and partnerships, we'd love to have you back and give us an update.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do. No, thanks for having me. It's been great.
Great. And I'll send you a copy of this show. It goes to a podcast tomorrow, 24 hours live right now through the NBC. And I'll send you a link that you can get it and use it any way you would like to if you need to do it. No cost, no nothing. We just appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and schedule to come on our show. So thank you very much, Alex.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send it to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I think she'll get a kick out of it.
Okay, sounds good. Tell her I said hi. Never met her. I'd like to, but anyway, you have a good afternoon.
On the show.
Will do.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to have to take not a break. We have to go away because NBC is going to come in and say we were kicking us off. But hey, we should get Sanders on the phone. Have her call into the show.